The list of great players to put on the Celtic jersey is too long to recall, but to many, the greatest of all was Jimmy Johnstone. Jinky, as he was known, played for Celtic for 13 years and was a vital part of the greatest period of their history and is immortalised at Celtic Park. This is a story of Jimmy Johnstone, Celtic's greatest ever player. Jimmy Johnstone was born in View Park, Scotland on the 30th of September 1944. He was the youngest of 5 children and spent much of his spare time kicking a ball about in streets or parks, and his talent was soon obvious. He played brilliantly for his secondary school side, and his PE teacher Tommy Cassidy was a friend of Celtic player Sammy Wilson. Cassidy, noticing Johnstone's excellent ability, used his connections to help get Johnstone a role as a ball boy at Celtic Park. Johnstone was heavily influenced by Stanley Matthews, often dribbling past milk bottles in his garden, as well as playing in pit boots to strengthen his leg muscles. During a trip to Manchester with his school team, Johnstone was noted by Manchester United scouts and nearly signed for the Red Devils, but Celtic didn't want to lose such a gem and allowed him to join. He would spend time training with Celtic and turning out for the reserves, scoring once and assisting thrice on his debut. Johnstone spent time on loan at Blantyre Celtic, but he impressed so much that Glasgow Celtic soon called him back. He would make his senior debut for Celtic in March 1963, but the occasion was overshadowed by the fact that his side lost 6-0 to Kilmarnock. He would net his first senior goal in his next appearance, a 4-3 defeat to Hearts. He played in the Scottish Cup final that year, impressing as Celtic took Rangers to a replay after a 1-1 draw, but was unfortunate as Rangers stormed a 3-0 victory in the replay. Johnstone would build back stronger though. Jinky established himself in the first team the next season, playing 25 times and scoring 6 goals. However, he would be in and out of the team, and when Jock's team was appointed as manager in 1965, he initially did not see Johnstone as part of his plans, viewing the winger as too individual for a team. Jinky would be left out of the side as Celtic defeated Dunfermline to win the 1965 Scottish Cup. It would be their first major trophy in 8 years, and the first of many under Steen, and whilst it didn't seem like it at the time, Johnstone would play a key part in Steen winning many more honours at Celtic Park. The 65-66 season soon saw more silverware added to the cabinet, as Celtic defeated Rangers in the League Cup final, as Johnstone won his first medal. Another would soon follow, as Celtic won their first league title for 12 years, and they came agonisingly close to a treble, losing to Rangers in the Scottish Cup final, and were also defeated by Liverpool in the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup. Johnstone had truly established himself in the Celtic team, becoming a marvel to behold. His ability to constantly weave himself out of tricky situations and create chances for teammates dazzled spectators, with the outside right seemingly unstoppable. The next campaign, he would play a key part in Celtic's greatest hour. Celtic won their first trophy of the season by retaining the League Cup when Rangers were defeated in the final. 1 week later, they added the Glasgow Cup to that season's tally. Johnstone won the Scottish Cup for the first time, as Celtic defeated Aberdeen in the final. Meanwhile, in the league, Celtic only lost twice all season, and faced Rangers in the penultimate game, needing only a draw to seal the championship. And it would be Johnstone who would make the league stay in the green and white part of Glasgow. 2 goals and an incredible performance from Jinky sealed a 2-2 draw, and as a result, the title. All that was left was the holy grail of the European Cup. Johnstone starred in Celtic's incredible run, and his performance against Nantes saw him net in the second leg, and his display was so impressive he was dubbed a flying flea by the French media. Johnstone would open the scoring in the semi-finals against Dukla Prague, and Celtic won 3-1 on aggregate to seal a place in the final. Celtic would face Helenio Herrera's Inter Milan in Lisbon. Things didn't start well, as the Italians went 1-0 up, but Johnston's skills on the wing helped to break down Inter's notoriously tough defence. Goals from Tommy Geville and Stevie Chalmers turned the game around, as Celtic became champions of Europe. The Lisbon Lions, as they would become known, were the first British team to win the competition, and it would not have been possible without Jinky's magic on the wing. Celtic had won every competition they took part in that campaign, and Johnstone played 51 games and netted 16 times. 2 weeks after the final, Celtic would head to Spain, where they faced Real Madrid for Alfredo Di Stefano's testimonial. Johnstone would steal the show, playing incredibly and assisting the only goal for Bobby Lennox. The Spanish crowd was so amazed by what they saw, they ended up shouting "Ole" whenever Johnstone got the ball. Afterwards, Jinky held the ball in the air in the centre circle to soak up the applause. Following the game, he booked a taxi for him and his wife outside the Bernabeu, and upon getting in, said to the driver, "Benidorm, mate." Johnstone would finish third in the 1967 European Footballer of the Year awards. Johnstone had also begun his international career by this point, although struggled to hit the same heights as he did with Celtic, as Scotland failed to take advantage of the pool of talent Steen's side had provided them. He would continue sweeping up the honours though, as Celtic won 9 league titles in a row between 1966 and 1974. More and more memorable moments from Johnstone would occur, such as his roles in the 7-2 win over Dundee United and a 6-2 victory over Hibernian in the 1969 League Cup final. Johnstone had a strong fear of flying, something that Steen used to his advantage. Drawing a home tie with Red Star Belgrade, Celtic were drawing 1-1 at half-time. Steen told Johnstone that if Celtic won by 3 goals, the winger would not have to travel for the second leg. It worked like a charm, as Johnstone scored twice and assisted twice, as Celtic won 5-1. Celtic won the quest to win the European Cup again, and faced Leeds in the semi-finals in 1970. Johnstone's performance in the second leg is the stuff of legend, with Terry Cooper saying he would have loved to have kicked Johnstone, but couldn't get anywhere near him. And Johnstone's compatriot Billy Bremner said it was one of the best performances he had ever seen. Celtic won 2-1 to reach the final. Unfortunately, Feyenoord were wise to Johnstone's ability and double-marked him to ensure he couldn't impact the game. Feyenoord won 2-1 to deny Celtic a second European crown. Nonetheless, the honours continued to come in. The 1971 Scottish Cup final replay saw another iconic performance, with many dubbing it the Johnstone final, as Jinky tore Rangers to shreds, and the scoreline of 2-1 to Celtic was not a true reflection of how dominant the Hoops were. Johnstone continued adding trophies to his cabinet in the 70s, but his skill set saw defenders constantly kicking lumps out of him, especially on the European stage. In 1974, Johnstone was relaxing with his Scottish teammates as they prepared for a match against England. After getting drunk with teammates, Johnstone ended up in a rowing boat and went out to sea, but the boat did not have any oars. Johnstone was stranded at sea and had to be rescued by the Coast Guard. He responded by saying he didn't know what the fuss was about and that he just fancied going fishing. This didn't affect Johnstone's performance, as an impressive showing in a 2-0 win over England saw him tear Liverpool defender Emlyn Hughes apart. He would travel with Scotland to the 1974 World Cup, but did not play a single minute as they went out in the group stage. Johnstone's Celtic career would come to an end in 1965. He was let go on a free transfer, with his relationship with Jock Stein deteriorating, and Celtic had to make way for the younger generation. It was a devastating blow for the 31-year-old, who only wanted to play for Celtic, and came out of Glasgow a broken man. He left Celtic with 529 appearances, 135 goals, 5 League Cups, 9 Scottish First Divisions, 4 Scottish Cups, and 1 European Cup. Johnstone would play for the likes of San Jose Earthquakes, Sheffield United, Dundee, Shelbourne, and Elgin, but his heart just wasn't in it for these clubs, and he would end up retiring from the game. His life continued to go downhill after his retirement. Johnstone suffered terribly from alcoholism, with his family at points having to lock him in his bedroom to stop him from drinking. Johnstone would meet Glaswegian businessman Willie Hawley in 1992 and try to sell him his medal collection. Hawley instead would help Johnstone fight his addictions and get his life back on track. Johnstone remained adored at Celtic, always welcomed back to Celtic Park with open arms, and it seemed everyone who knew him had a story to tell. Hollywood actor Robert Duvall met Johnstone, who was a consultant for the football film A Shot at Glory that Duvall starred in. Duvall would later describe Johnstone as the most interesting person he'd ever met, saying that Jinky often sang to Duvall, and Duvall would end up naming his cat after Johnstone. Unfortunately, Jimmy Johnstone would be diagnosed with motor neuron disease in the early 2000s, and after several years of battling the illness, he died on the 13th of March 2006 at the age of 61. After Johnstone's death, Celtic and Rangers fans set aside their differences to pay tribute to him outside Celtic Park on the day of his funeral. And in 2008, a statue of him was erected outside Celtic Park to immortalise Jimmy Johnstone. There are few players who managed to attain such sheer adoration as Johnstone did, which is a testament to the player he was. He entertained time and time again, tearing opponents apart and being a key cog in the Celtic machine during the best era of their history. He was a rogue off the pitch, but a magician on it, which saw him admired wherever he went. The life of Jimmy Johnstone may have tragically been cut short, but there is no doubt the memories of Jinky will live forever.